Hello my friends. Well, Steve O.J. is showing up. He's dropping off a chainsaw that I'm going to have a look at. I think it's a lot like this one, which is mine. So we're going to have, it's going to be Homelite, whoops, excuse me, back on the tripod. It's going to be Homelite heaven. So we'll wait for him to walk through that door. Here we go, folks. Steve O.J. is coming in. Oh.
Got a new project for you. Oh my God, it looks the same as yours.
I thought it might.
So this is you got a Homelite Super 2.
Yeah.
And I think mine's an XL.
Super 2.
It's a Super 2.
But just a piece of plastic difference.
Wow.
So here we go, folks. This is Steve O.J. Go to his channel and subscribe. I'll put a link in the description here. So he's brought over this Homelite X Super 2 14-inch, and he explained it on the phone, so I went out to the shed just 5 minutes ago, and so I thought I would do a dueling Homelite video thing. It's pretty darn close, isn't it?
Yeah,
mine has the knuckle protector. I guess all it does is get in the way.
Yeah.
Because you want to fill the gas and the
well, maybe mine had it at one time and I just took it off.
So this one, this is a Franken model.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if I took too much off the second one, but one had a bad carb and the other one had a bad bar, so I made the two.
But other chainsaws, you know, these are just they're just absolute wonderful little chainsaws.
Well, they're old and loud.
Yeah, and they're nice and light. Perfect.
So on both saws, we'll do it together. Not right now, but we'll take the muffler off and we'll look in there and see how this piston and cylinder looks, and then we'll do the same thing with this one, and we'll do an apples to apples comparison. How about that?
Perfect. That's why I brought it here.
And if we need any parts, I got chains and bars coming out of my chains and bars.
Wow.
Yeah.
You get a lot of stuff here.
I do. I got more than you'd think.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to turn you guys off and I'm going to give Steve the tour. Too bad for him. Furnace alert. It's cold out there, so. Anyway, you're not seeing double. You guys just saw earlier Steve O.J. came in and dropped this one off. It's so close, but I actually think it's a tiny bit older than this one. This is not a brake, this is just a piece of plastic, and all it does is get in the way of the fill tube. But I leave it on there. It's the very first safety feature on a chainsaw. There's no brake, there's rubber on here for vibration, but there's no foam, there's no rubber mounts on the look at that, the handle's mounted right straight hard onto the body. Now this one was running last fall. I just drained it and ran it out of fuel, but it does need a few things, so I thought this would be fun to get this one running perfectly. And this one I have no idea. So I think the first thing we should do is get this one out of the box and do a compression test on it, just to see. So let's just get set up here. Alright my friends, we're going to check the compression on Steve's saw. We'll do it. You ready? Can you see? Sort of. We'll come in later. Oh, man, when the compression starts to build, I tell you. Holy smokes! And it's at 170 pounds. That's great. Now we're going to try the other saw. Looks like I got a lower level leak on this one. So I'm going to just try something. I'll be right back. Okay, this is interesting. On most air compression testers. You have a valve in the stem that holds air, and this one is leaking, and I took this one out of one of the other attachments, and if you can see, there is a difference. This one's a bit more worn, squashed out, or whatever you want to call it. So we'll stick this guy in there, and I'll do the whole thing all over again. Oh yeah. Yes, this one holds air. Alright, let's try that again. I had it, what did it come up to? 170 or some crazy thing, right? You guys still watching this nonsense? Good. I barely got enough strength to pull her when she's full pressured up. Let's go. £180. That's pretty sweet, eh? Okay, let's try that other saw. That's great. Makes me happy. Got it out. Fiddling around. I'm getting tired. Okay, here we go. Pressure tester. There. Got this thing working again. That was bothering me. The air was leaking out past the gauge. Eh? Okay. Clamp this down. Now this is my saw. Same thing, right? £170, without a word of a lie. Look at that. Okay, so both saws have 175 pounds or 170 pounds of compression. That's crazy, man. Now I'm going to slow her down for the day, and tomorrow we're going to get into the carburetors, and I'd like to do, what do you call it, the crank seals, but that's a bit more involved. Alright, I got the saw back on the chair. I just want to see if it runs. I don't think it will. It might have a weak enough spark to kick. We'll see. Okay, it ran. It's got some spark, but I don't... Do we keep visiting that? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Although everything's different inside that cylinder once everything's closed up, eh? So we go from there to here. I want to see that spark. It's right there. I know that's a good ground, so I'm going to keep using it. spark though. Whatever, it's got a spark. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at that cylinder. And we can look at both machines too at the same time. This one's been run a little richer than mine. And I think it's got a few more hours on it. So the spark was there, but it was blue, and my spark's a little more yellow. Okay, here's the big kahuna right now. Let's do better than this. There we are. It looks pretty good. Now let's have a look at the piston itself. It looks fine. Now let's have a look at mine. Be right back. It takes a few seconds. Okay, here's mine. And it looks much the same. Oh, it's got the plug in, that's why. Boing, boing, boing. Looks good. Bleep. Good, okay. So they both look okay, they both should run. But looks aren't everything. I pay attention to Donny Boy 73, and he knows that, and I've heard him say that, not so much on chainsaws, but on cutting machinery and stuff, the sand can just kill a machine and it'll still look good. Alright my friends, this is a sad day. This is the smaller pair of red pliers I had in my house tool kit. I gotta put those there for now, because I need a set of pliers there. Back to the job at hand. Okay, here we got the little Super 2, sorry. And I would really like to check the crank seals on this. Ken from Ken Small Engines sent this to me. Can you believe it? 1/4 inch output. You can pressure things up, or you can suction stuff. Isn't that cool? But what I've got here is I've got something that's really going to be an addition to this little test kit. It came off of a Honda. Oh, sorry about that. Yes, this is my new test Mighty Vac. And this is a 1/4 inch outlet. And on many of the carburetors, they have a 3/16 inlet. So I got this from a Honda lawnmower. This is the output of the gas tank to the carburetor or to the shutoff valve, depending on the machine. So this automatically converts the output of the Mighty Vac. Oh, got to go to pressurization. Make sure this works first. Yep, isn't that cool? It came with a hose, but now I can go straight down to a 3/16 from there. So I'm just going to see if I can get to the carburetor. I want to test it first. I might have to take this rewind off of there. There we go. Now it's down. Now we're talking. 5/16. I bought a new 5/16 because I wore the old one right out. I'll use a tray. I don't usually use metal trays, but I'll use one. Oh, and I dropped the darn screw. You are watching this, right? Okay. I I think I got to take that handle. If I remember, I've had mine apart a few times. This is exactly like the one I own, of course. And the bottom handle. You know, there's a few small differences, but it is screw for screw identical. Except this one hasn't got a knuckle protector. But this saw predates the saws with brakes, eh? There we go. Ah, so look at here. There's been a repair in here from the coil. I don't like that. From the coil to the switch. Look at that. There, it leaves the switch, on-off switch, and it goes to the coil, and it's just using a butt connector on there. So we will fix that. Well, I might have to take the rest of the saw apart. Boy, I really don't want to, but I'm going to have to. Chainsaws are pretty cool things, but they are a little cumbersome to take apart and put back together again. And we're going to find out how old these saws are. My guess is they're 40 years old. I might have to take this yeah, I'm going to have to do that. That'll be a 7/16, I think. I should almost have gloves on for this. Okay, will this come out of here now? It should just pull out of here. Ah! The old spark plug! There! Cool! So first I want to test the carburetor to see if it holds to 5 pounds or 7 pounds of pressure. I doubt it if it will on this. I'm quite excited about this. Thank you, Ken. Okay, here we go. If it stays to 5 pounds, that would be really cool, eh? Nothing. It might be my old dried out hose I'm using, right? Yeah, it's right on there. So we can work on that a little bit. All right, we're good now. I've got a pressure. I just extended this hose to this hose. There's no leak there. And we are at 7 pounds, right on the schnoz. And I've got the carburetor hooked up to the other, our test carburetor. When I let this go, you're going to see bubbles coming out of that carburetor. Oh, we got to pump it back up again. We lost it already. There, right there. See there? So that carburetor's got a leak. So now we are going to test this carburetor. Ew. I'm going to do a air wash as Donny Boy 73 calls that, on these. But first, we're going to test this carburetor to see if it holds 7 pounds. And focus you up a little bit. Let's pressure this out. You know that is holding. Okay, we'll go to 7 just because. So now this carburetor is holding at 7, right? You see that? That's a good thing. So how far do I go on this? Alright, now to test the crank seals, on a 2-stroke engine, the gas is taken in by the carburetor. It's mixed so that you get a mist like that, right? A mist of gas and air. And it's sucked into the crankcase first. The piston comes down and passively the gas moves into the cylinder, and the cylinder comes up and is burned. And it happens on every stroke because you don't have intake valves, you've got none of that, you've got no oil in the crankcase, so it goes bang, bang, bang. Interesting, isn't it? So that was my little lesson on 2-strokes. I'm going to see if I can block off this intake on the carburetor, now that I know that the carburetor holds air. And then I'm going to block off the muffler. And I've got some really cool stuff here. Some of the guys that I work with might recognize this. And I'm starting to run out. We did a DMS, we did a digital switch replacement, and I got the old static mat. This actually drains the static off your body when you're walking around, saving static electricity from ruining the components, believe that. Alright. Punch. So I'm going to try and just block this off and put that cap back on there. And that'll be my 1 block. And we'll go this way. Yes. Need a poker. Good. Okay, now we got to block off the muffler exactly the same way, just so that air can't escape from the crankshaft. And when the piston moves up, right there, oh, you won't see it, there it is. When the we want that sealed so the air can't come out of there. Let's just see how bad it is in here. It's fair. Okay, we're going to stick this on here like this. Poke a little hole right about there. And that should work if there's a seal. Now remember, we only have to seal to 5 pounds. Here we go. Alright my friends, I apologize about the furnace, there's nothing I can do. But now I've got the carburetor flange holding down my piece of seal into the block. The spark plug is in, and I've got the output blocked here. So now let's pump it up to 7 pounds, or even 5. I'd be happy with 5. Let's go to 7. Okay, it's leaking ever so slightly, right? But it might be part of my process. This is pretty hillbilly what I'm doing here, right? So let's just see where the leak is. The leak's on the muffler. Right there. So let me turn you off if I haven't lost you already. Your battery's dying, and I'm just going to clean this gasket up, and we're going to try this one more time. All right, your guys' job is to watch that gauge. 7 pounds. I don't see any loss yet, so we got it. So I redid this. I redid the clamp on the carburetor, and I put a huge vice grip. Whoa, let's back out of here. I put a huge vice grip clamp on the muffler. Anyway, I'm pretty happy. We're still at 7. In fact, we'll prove it to you. Staying firm at 7. So thank you, Ken from Ken's Small Engines, who sent that to me. I don't know how I did this before. So now I know that this little chainsaw, the crank seals are good. Now the carburetor tested good as far as just the needle point or the needle pressure is concerned, but I'm going to put a kit into it. It deserves a kit, and so does my old one. And looking at the marks on the drum for the clutch, they look the same as mine, so I might not even have to change that. Yahoo! Look at that. That's still right at 7, right on the nose, baby. Hasn't lost a bit.